Well, welcome on the news review leg of the show. This is where we dig into the papers and bring you news from Ghana and across the world. Good morning, Mama.
Yeah, good morning. I'm still not feeling you. You know, you're still not 100%. Like, what can we do to make you feel better?
Some
coffee, tea?
Time,
eh? Time. You don't want tea? I want to serve you.
Well, maybe some tea wouldn't be bad.
Okay.
Some tea wouldn't be bad.
Echo, please, tea. Okay, good morning.
the way you called him as though he were butler or something. I know. That, by the way, is our big man on the show, our producer, our excellence.
But when you are the one on air, he kind of has to serve you.
Oh, no.
I'm just taking advantage of it.
If we'll do tea or anything, it will be after the show. Anyway.
Thanks for joining us. If you just tuned in, this is the AM show. Of course, you missed the news with Mapito Sibidi, but you made it in good time. We're about just reviewing the local papers for you. We'll touch base also with our news portal, myjoyonline.com, and hopefully we can check out what's making headlines internationally. But before we start with the newspapers, I have a very special man that I want to celebrate on the AM show this day. A man that has blessed me. I'm not sure he even knows that because he has an amazing son who has blessed me in many ways. I want to celebrate Brother William Ollenu Odro. He's late president of the Methodist Church, but he's also vice president of the Ghana Bar Association, a member of the National Media Commission since 2015. He's an incredible man. Mr. William Ollenu Odro, late president, Methodist Church. He was elected recently. And if you know him and you don't know this, kindly give him a call and say congratulations. Wherever you are, sir, I hope that you have a very good day. I wish you well with the new designation, Mr. William Ollenu Odro. Okay.
Well, Mr. Odro, we wish you well. Though you may not have touched us like you touched Mama V. But you never know. Maybe someone close to you.
He doesn't even know that he has touched me.
Well, I guess that's the bit, though. People who really impact lives, oftentimes they don't even know how many people whose lives they're impacting.
Yeah.
And that's why the blessings continue to flow. So
yeah.
We pray for him.
This will be such a surprise.
In fact, come to think of it, if you're touching Mama V's life, then you are, inevitably touching my life.
Absolutely. Listen, he has an incredible son called William, and I'm happy to be his, called Andrew, and I'm happy to be his friend. Right. And his father has an incredible story, and I hope that someday he would, be kind enough to me to share his story, because it will be such a privilege, really. Wow. And all of us will learn something from that incredible story of his.
As an author, I think this is where I believe many people, leave us with those stories. I feel you can immortalize those stories by putting them down in books. I've been encouraging a lot of key personalities, in this country, some of whom I've written stuff for, that look, don't go with the stuff, share it. So I think it's a challenge we're throwing to.
I chose to, and with the permission of Andrew, I chose to celebrate him on the AM show today. Yeah, so. Okay, listen, there's also something else, Ben, that I want to talk about. I still can't believe today is what, 12th of January?
The 12th, yeah.
I still can't believe that in 2021 on the 6th and on the 7th, our parliamentarians did what they did. Like, I still can't think far, and I can't forget it. Like, I can't move on, because it still keeps playing, like, all those moments, all those low moments, it keeps playing back in my mind, and So when I hear, when I was listening to Haruna Idrisu, I think that's where it all came. And then I was like, I still can't believe that we're here. And I couldn't be thinking about what he was saying. I was just thinking about what they did in Parliament. Can't go past that.
I mean, I listened to Muntaka as well on The Probe, and I couldn't even comprehend, so to speak, some of the assumptions that were made or justifications that were offered, and even some bits of information that was added about, a Supreme Court judge, this and all of that. I think I'll just stay out of that fray for now. But I think it has rubbed off all of us so badly. And I think why, I don't know about you, but why people like me would feel it is even more shocking, egregious, is that so far, no one even wants to take responsibility, proper responsibility for what happened. You ask MPs from this side, oh, it's a bad thing. MPs from that side, oh, it's a bad thing. But what are we doing to those who were involved? We talk about the fact that in the standing orders, arms are not supposed to be taken into Parliament. We had the military in Parliament. Who ordered it? We still can't get to the bottom of that. You ask the military, they tell you this. You ask the Defense Ministry, Interior, they tell you that. Chief of Staff, this, that. So, in other words, when this happens, it means our lawmakers themselves are not willing to get to the bottom of the matter and show some good faith and say, look, we erred, we did this person did that person, let's move on. But if you just tell us, oh no, it has happened, let's move on.
We ain't moving on.
I mean, how do we move on?
We're not moving on. Who says we're moving on?
Because there's no closure.
We just showed some of the videos, and I think Patrick took it off when it got to the ballot snatching. Like seriously, that happened in Parliament? Like seriously, Ben?
You know, I've always said
Did a member of Parliament actually snatch ballot papers and run off with it?
We talk about ballot boxes being snatched, ballot papers being snatched, and all of that.
Yeah.
But I believe this is like the worst we can see for it to happen in Parliament.
And the bit about the chair being pulled off from Ollenu, so that's also one of the lowest moments. I mean, all are low moments, but the lowest. I mean, you never do a thing like that. You never do a thing like that. There's a human being, there's a lady seated on a chair,
come to
and
think
then
of it.
you just yank the chair off her. Like, how do you do that? And you're a man. You get what I mean?
I do. I mean, it's not good whether it's male or female, but especially when it's a woman.
It's a woman sitting on the chair, like no matter what, okay? And then he just yanks the thing off.
I guess it got, because I'm not justifying this, but she also got a bit aggressive, you know, pushing, shoving, she fell to her knees and all of that. But I'm saying that it's no justification. No matter what she may have done,
you don't pull a chair off a woman. I mean, I can imagine, like, I'm seated here right now, and then Ben, you just get up and you just, Charlie, who does that?
You remember I told you that after the presidential inauguration, you know, the swearing in of the president, I went and spoke to her. I mean, usually we've had our moments, you know, good and bad, but I went to her and she just looked drained. She couldn't even speak.
I heard that.
She couldn't speak.
I heard that.
And she just told me, oh, Ben, this one, next. I mean, the voice in which she was even speaking. It wasn't just the fact that her party had not got the speech. I don't think, it wasn't just that. Something had come out.
She was drained there. But listen, whilst I highlight on that and I condemn that, like, it's not gentlemanly to do that. Like, you don't teach your children to do that, and then you do it. As in, take a chair of a woman. I think the shoving of Collins Dowder. I mean, he's a total gentleman, I tell you. A total gentleman.
He
out of
did
the episode,
not
he's a gentleman.
react.
Yeah. Okay, man, listen, we can talk about Parliament for the next 30 minutes, but listen, we want to do the newspapers. We don't want to spend all of our time on bad examples that they set for us, but we won't stop talking about it because they have to feel what they did. They have to begin to reflect and apologize to the entire nation. I've got the Ghanaian Times. I'm going to say the Daily Times. We don't have a Daily Times in this country. We've got a Ghanaian Times.
Well, the Ghanaian Times comes out daily anyway.
All right. Do you want me to go?
I thought he would go through. So you said the Ghanaian Times?
Oh, yes. I said the Times Finder and Daily Guide.
Right. So I have the Daily Graphic, Daily Dispatch, the Punch, I should say, and then the Daily Statesman.
All right, let's start with the Ghanaian Times on the front page. Be tough with corruption in second term. That's from Professor Bawole. Nana Fitz calls for truce between NPP and NDC. We ain't moving on, sir. We've got to really discuss the issues. Mass disinfection fumigation in over 6,000 basic schools begin. Coca-Cola ICU tango over layoffs. NLC to rule on issue on Wednesday. Now, this is one certainly of interest. Details, page 15. It says, The Industrial and Commercial Workers Union has dragged the Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Ghana Limited to the National Labour Commission over the alleged lockouts of 30 employees. They are part of 55 others declared redundant on December 31st, 2020, under an exercise by the company to remodel its operations to remain profitable, among other objectives in the West African sub-region. Some of the employees had worked for 20 years, while others have been engaged for a few months. The exercise had become necessary in view of challenges including the coronavirus disease facing the beverage giants. Okay. When the Ghanaian Times got to the factory at 10:30 a.m., all was calm and the police vehicle was parked at the entrance. Okay, so there was this brouhaha earlier. The affected employees stormed the factory premises on the Spintex Road to demand that they should be allowed to work, as they were yet to be paid their severance package. Under the seeming confusion, security of the factory called in the Bachona Divisional Police to maintain law and order. Okay, so just how things have become really at the company is what is being told in the Ghanaian Times newspaper. That's how far we've come. On page 3, you'd see the crime-related stories. 2 grabbed for attempting to smuggle weed into prison. They've been apprehended by the Ankafo Maximum Security Prisons for attempting to smuggle 15 parcels of Indian hemp to an inmate at the prisons. You know what I'm thinking, Ben? When you commit a crime like in a place like that, they shouldn't take you through any process. You're already in prison. It's because you like the place. That's why you try to commit crime there.
The system addresses each one, and you know that as much as I do, differently. So you'll have to go through the process again to ensure that you get the top up.
A very painful, slow system sometimes. There's an update on the Dr. Oponing case. It says Dr. Oponing 271.3 million Ghana cedis financial loss case. Agricult sold fertilizer to Cocoa Board, according to a witness. If you've been following this case, that you might want to catch up. Also, watchman arrested in connection with Satsimadza Kliko gas station attack. Okay, I'm not sure I said that right. But this is the Keta MP. Remember yesterday when we were reviewing the stories, we shared with you how he had been attacked again. Well, a filling station belonging to him what was robbed, essentially. And it says the watchman there has been arrested. The rest of it is in the paper. Let's see, back page. Kwame Opoku's breaks liberty. No. Israeli embassy supports 8 entrepreneurs and health facilities. In the center spread, be tough with corruption. That story is here. Minister sponsors 30 brilliant needy students at UMATS. But as you heard there from Harun Idrisu, we don't have ministers. Support speaker to push nation's development agenda. That's a call to Techiman residents. Okay, no. And then Tewu threatens withdrawal of services. Teachers and Educational Workers Union of the Trade Union Congress Ghana has said its members will withdraw their services when school reopens. Hey, according to Tewu, its stance is based on the failure of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to review the conditions of service for the unionized staff of public universities. Tewu, in a press statement jointly signed by the General Secretary, National Chairman, and copied to the Ghanaian Times, said the conditions of service for unionized staff of the public universities expired in 2008, and since then, a new one has not been negotiated. So since June 19, 2019, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission had not been able to conduct negotiations with Tewu. That's the thing. Even when schools were shut and nothing was happening, they couldn't take advantage to close some of these issues. Now they are saying that when schools reopen, schools are reopening. In fact, some schools have reopened already. Friday, Monday, almost all the schools will go back. That's when they say they will withdraw their services. So we're back to square one. It's been our story. That's how it's been the whole time.
But Mama V, I will not let you get away with this. How come Kotoko, Poku nets a brace, and you just take a swipe at the story? In fact, you read the headline once, you see Kotoko, Ajimbi, you did the same thing with Leeds, and you see where Man United is now. You're doing it to Kotoko. Let's get into the daily graphic.
Talk about Kotoko?
Pardon me. 2021 year of enforcement standards authority bears teeth. And the teeth that they're bearing, well, basically the Director General, Professor Alex Dodo, is saying that the GSA has developed more than 4,000 standards on almost every item and food product, including buildings, roads, hospital equipment, electrical cables, appliances, school uniforms. Guess what? School uniforms, Kenke and Sobolo. All of them are in there. And so the slippages in the system supposedly are going to be taken care of. So that's a good development. On page 20, targeting 100% electricity access, bold move. Let's quickly delve into that before I come back to something on page 17. So some energy think tanks have been responding to what His Excellency the President said with regard to extending electricity access. And let me just get... So in the estimation of the Institute of Energy Security, the Africa Center for Energy Policy, and the Institute of Energy Policies and Research, the huge cost implications and the historical antecedent in the country's energy sector were pointers to an uphill task in achieving that target. Additionally, they said the 4-year deadline for adding 15% to achieve the 100% electricity access required significant policy reshaping, prudent investment, and private sector participation. Already, we owe these independent power producers, and there's all that back and forth. I do not know, but of course we can dream. Dreaming as a country is not a bad thing. Whether we can actualize the dream is another thing, like they're pointing out here. Policy, investment, private sector engagement, whether we can get it right. Do you remember last year we read that story? I remember, I've forgotten whether it's the Daily Statesman or one of those papers, capturing a place where supposedly for 500 years, that's what the story said, they had not had electricity. It was only last year that they had got electricity.
I remember that.
So I'm just wondering what will happen here. But on page 17, what we were talking about, what we kickstarted the review with, the parliamentary melee, AFAG, the Alliance for Accountable Governance, is also calling for an independent investigation into the incidents leading to the election of the Speaker of Parliament on January 7. It mentioned the assault on a female member of Parliament, the snatching and chewing of ballot papers, among others. So there are some bodies also,
My confidence is in the fact that we've got a speaker who doesn't belong to the governing party. So we know that something will happen. Otherwise, most of the time, in the past, probably have some committee like that be set up and then you don't even see the head or tail of it. But I'm confident in the kind of speaker that we have. So let's wait for Friday.
I'll just wrap on these two very quickly. We spoke recently about the Abuabo fire incident. Now the police have picked up 2 suspects in connection with that. The suspects whose identities are being withheld for security reasons are currently in police custody, assisting with investigations. And this final one, I've noticed has become a trend. You know those LED lamps? A lot of people are now using them. They are way brighter, more shiny, and I don't know whether you've noticed, in their cars. So they take off their normal, you would see that on the road, especially at night. Some of them are that. So a lot of people don't know, but the National Road Safety Authority is warning that these are not meant to be used. In fact, they flout the regulations. The authority says the fixing of LED lamps has become a fashion, posing a serious threat. And
it's too bright,
exactly. And in spite of the admonition, some vehicle owners and commercial drivers have been using it. I was at the DVLA some time back, and a lot of them, you see those who sell different things, whatever you want in that neighborhood, and they were offering these. I told them no, but others have been patronizing them. So if you didn't know, they are illegal, so to speak. Don't patronize them. You could actually be harming other people on the road. Let's check out some other stories.
Quickly to the finder on the front page, something that happened today, yesterday, I beg your pardon, the One Ghana movement, UPSA Law School, and of course, JoyNews and Joy FM. The stories here, political science inevitable when elections threaten livelihoods, says Dean of the Faculty of Law at the UPSA at the One Ghana lecture series, Kofi Abochi. Details there on page 9. Traders in Accra express mixed expectations on reopening of schools. That's on our table today. As the time draws close now, I'm thinking, am I making the best decision in sending my children back to school? TUC calls for more job creation initiatives, pledges support for governments. And then COVID-19 ravages wood carving business. And there's, Ben, maybe you can help me. Chai Century Henyu Group, not licensed at Capital
this one
Company. I've been struggling
it's either
with
Chinese
it.
or something, so I think you can freestyle with it.
Well, and when we go to my John line, you'd see that we also have that story as our main headline, because the Securities and Exchange Commission is warning the general public and investing public really to beware of this investment firm that I'm struggling to even mention their name. It says that they are not licensed, as in the Securities and Exchange Commission has not licensed the firm to carry out any capital market activity, including investing or trading for returns as mandated by Section 3 of the Securities Industry Act. As such, Chai Century Henry Group cannot operate as an investment firm. Basically, that's what the story. Remember, Men's Gold started off just like this.
That's exactly what came to mind. And I was about to say we are back to this again.
My only issue is that if they are not licensed, then why do they even exist? Take them off the market. You get what I mean?
I'm thinking exactly.
Because how many people would see the statement that you've issued? They've given us their phone numbers, which is good that people should call. But you know how things work in this country.
Yeah.
You can't rely on this. So if they're not supposed to operate, then why are they there?
Yeah.
Just kick them off.
I mean, it reminds me of, when Men's Gold had the Men's Bank sort of setup. All these things confuse people. And you don't want that to happen. In fact, the Securities and Exchange Commission, you must ensure that they don't even get out there to confuse people, because some people, like you're saying, how many Ghanaians read the papers?
You're saying you're putting people on notice. That's English. You issued a certain statement, but maybe they are not the ones to take them off the market, but we have so many other state institutions. Otherwise, I know I'm not licensed, but I'm operating. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. I mean, it's not like a lawless country where you can just get up and come and set up and do it, and then the regulator will say he's not licensed, so don't do business with him. Meanwhile, he's still on the market. You get what I mean? Like it doesn't add up. It's not enough to say, I've served you notice. You get what I mean? Yeah. You can't sing fire.
I can't.
Yeah.
I really can't.
Too.
Well, the Daily Dispatch, very quickly, campaigns for Allen and Baumia towards MPP's 2024 slot not healthy now, Canadian Japan wants. There have been things put out there from time to time with regard to, who would lead the NPP in 2024. It appears that a pot of water is beginning to boil, but Canadian Japan, I said I'd say Canada has become very, I wouldn't say docile, but very calm, at least following what happened in Parliament. But we only need to see him on TV. No, I can't. Anyway, he's suggesting here that it's too early and that members of the party should desist from the campaign activities they have started for their preferred personalities. You know that he himself has been spoken of in the past with regard to leading the party, but I also recall his saying that he didn't want that capacity. He just wants contracts. He's interested in the money. There's a story on the back page. Father of Jinapos opens up about his NPP and NDC sons, gives credit to his wife. That's a story you might want to check out. Interesting one there. And again, mass disinfection and fumigation for over 6,000 basic schools in Greater Accra starts. That's on page 11.
All right, let's do the Daily Guide. There's a story that is not so pleasant. You'd find the headline on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. It says diplomat found dead in room. This happened in Cantonment. and I would share a bit of details. But also on the front page, ministers list pops up. Shall we go through some of the names? Well, their pictures are right there. So you can see Matthew Opoko Prempe, Kujapon Kroma Godfrey Yeboah Dame, John Peter Amewu. And the story says a relatively slim government will be the feature of President Akufo-Addo's administration, according to what they've gathered. Chief of Staff Akosua Frema Oseyo Pare is retaining her position, having been issuing directives on behalf of the president since his swearing in. She will this time be working with fresh faces as her previous two deputies go to Parliament. Making a bounce back into the government is the former General Secretary Kwabena Japan. Oh, okay. Somebody asked about him recently. Who'd be appointed as one of the deputy chiefs of staff. That's what they're saying. Michael Oforiatta, a diplomat, would also take the other vacant position. Atachia could be heading for the Environment Ministry as its minister. Nana Bedietu Asante, who served as the secretary to the president in the first term, would definitely retain his position, according to the story. Let's see, page 6. Real quick, where are we? And then, where's the rest of the story? There has been a heightened clamoring for positions by party members, some of them doing so through influential personalities within the ruling party, traditional rulers and prominent clergymen. All right, so you can go through the list. But listen, I don't know much about these things, but what I do know is that if you lobby, the pressure that they will bring on you when you finally get the position, you will regret even lobbying to get the position. Sit here somewhere if you get the appointment, so you can work freely. But it's not easy, as I have said it. This other story,
but
Ben,
I've heard some things about some ministries being merged and suggestions. For example, the Business Development Ministry, Honorable Awal, being merged with the Trades Ministry and all of that. I mean, time will tell, but I feel indeed some of those should be merged. Transport, aviation, and all of that. That's something I am looking forward to.
Yeah, okay. So this story about, so that's Ghana's consul to Serbia. His name, Stephen Mawenyaga. He was found dead in his room at cantonment in Accra. And the story tells how his daughter, who had not heard from him in 63 years, by the way, contacted the cantonment police station, reported to the cantonment police station. And then around 1 a.m. yesterday morning, the police received information about the demise of the government representative to Serbia in his room. The information had it that the deceased daughter had called her father several times without response. She tried reaching out to her father on phone 3 days ago, but to no avail, and therefore proceeded to the house to find out what was happening. And so it leads to how, they realized that, body was lifeless, essentially.
Right.
He had died. So the Accra Regional Police Public Relations Officer says that the police received information from the daughter, essentially going back. The body had been deposited at the police hospital morgue for autopsy while investigations into the matter continue. That's a very sad, heartbreaking one. Yeah.
So I just want to chip in this bit from Twitter. We're trending, by the way, at number 9, the AM show. But also trending is Free Bulldog Now.
Has he truly been arrested? I thought it was fake news.
Twitter is talking about it, and a lot of people are actually talking about it. So it's something that we likely have to delve into. Some accusations of the media. Che, for example, says, as the media people are pretending they've not seen bulldogs been arrested, they shouldn't do any videos for us when the police searches them. So a lot of people talking about that. Is actually trending at number 2, I believe, on Twitter. So something to delve into. Okay,
maybe later on. There's a story about an 18-year-old who faked her kidnap to demand ransom from
the 1,000 CD one.
To demand ransom from parents. Maybe tomorrow we can highlight on that.
I think it was in one of the papers yesterday.
I missed it, but I've seen it in the Daily Guide newspaper. Okay, well, if you're interested in any of the stories that we've told you from the newspapers, kindly go to the newsstands and grab the papers. You can go to myjoyonline.com. We have lots of stories there as well for you.
Well, it's time now for sports, and like it or not, Mamavi is going to be hearing about my Kumasi, Krabia Kumasi Asante Kotoko. That's up next.
Really?